Mike, thank you for joining us today. Maybe you can start by introducing yourself and tell us who you are.
Sure. Thanks, David, for having me on this call. My name is Michael Bernardt, and I am the head of the community from ChainEx, and probably one of the most early guys to start using the platform. And I've also been in cryptocurrency for, I think, it's probably 5 or 6 years. You tend to lose count over the years.
Maybe we can just go straight into the questions. Tell us, what does ChainEx do?
Seeing that I was early in the crypto market, myself and a few other gentlemen, we could really identify the gap in the market, and it was for an exchange to be sufficient, quick, fast, and have a very great support team. And that was probably where ChainEx came to light. We had a developer early off that was looking to, launch an exchange. And as I've mentioned, a few guys came together, and that's literally where it started off. But the gap in the market was definitely, having that support base. ChainEx really strives on that. We focus on that. We're really user-centric. And that's exactly how ChainEx then came to light.
A bit of history as well.
Sure. So in 2017, our CTO, Reino, Mattia, he started up with an idea of creating a cryptocurrency exchange. And in 2018, when he met up with a few other individuals, the idea came to light. As I've mentioned, we got a financer that was able to give us initially the starting capital. And with that, we were able to take on this project. And of course, being a cryptocurrency digital asset exchange, our timing was a little bit tough. We started in the bear market, as I've just mentioned, 2018. After the high of 2017, we got and took off. And obviously, it's been quite a bit of a challenge. But again, it's a great time in this market at this moment, and we are really capitalizing on that. But that's literally how ChainEx started. 2017, it was simply an idea, and Reino did see the gap, with solving that issue of having support not at the center of a business. And again, with a few like-minded individuals, it really came very quickly. And 2018 was the official launch of the exchange.
So you mentioned you saw a gap in terms of support. That gap, so what was happening then in terms of support? What were other exchanges doing, or was that something that the customers were complaining and then you identified it as a problem?
So obviously, David, I'm not sure about your country, but here in South Africa, we like dealing with support in person almost. And obviously with a cryptocurrency exchange being all virtual and online, there isn't that going to a door, knocking on it, and then seeing someone to able to help you. So we noticed that other exchanges obviously have the normal process of opening up support tickets, but support tickets turnaround time was quite long. And then over and above that, like I said, there was no way for you to get hold of support other than through support tickets. So that's exactly where we decided, when it comes to support tickets, to try and limit a support ticket's turnaround time to less than a day. On top of that, we also created a Telegram group. So it's an official general group where users can go onto and actually start asking questions related to the exchange. We have many members, support staff members on there as well to obviously assist. So I mentioned members because some members actually start helping one another within the group. And then on top of that, as I've just mentioned, support also sits and monitors the Telegram group. So we have the traditional ticket method, but on top of that, we also created the Telegram group to constantly have support active there so that people can see the support is there to deal with their tickets as well as easy or simple queries.
All right. Would you let us know who your competition is in South Africa back then and possibly now?
Sure. So at that time, it was BitX, recently rebranded to Luno, probably one of the major exchanges here in South Africa. Recently, also Valor came to the party. And yes, obviously, there's Altcoin Trader. So we are competing against all of these exchanges I've just mentioned, but we are now trying to create our own niche. We are targeting the altcoin market. So obviously, both Valor and Luno only have a limited additional coins that they offer to the market. So when it comes to us or to their clients, So when it comes to us, we are looking to offer way more alternative coins to our users. So obviously that now puts us in the same category as altcoin trader, and that's now our clear competition for this year.
Now, what markets are you currently operating in, and what are your expansion plans?
So David, we are mainly in South Africa, huge audience from South Africa and locally. We have our footprint here. We also have international individuals trading on the exchange, way more limited because, as I've mentioned to you earlier, just before we started the recording, is that, it's very hard when it comes to fiat currencies and regulation and dealing with other countries' banks. So obviously, because of regulation, we are very much limited to expanding into other international countries. However, if users are able to buy Bitcoin in their local currency outside of South Africa, they are then able to trade our alternative coins against Bitcoin. So therefore, users can sign up on ChainEx. They can then deposit their Bitcoin and trade our alternative coins to Bitcoin. So that obviously gives us then access to any other market out there, unless stipulated amongst the countries that we cannot onboard. So that would be countries that obviously have tough regulation, very strict regulation. But our plan of action is, of course, to get to understand the regulation more better, especially with South Africa now having to comply very soon. We are getting a clearer and clearer roadmap of what we are able to do and what we cannot do. And according to this, we can then take steps and measures and put certain measures in place to enter neighboring countries.
Any plans on that, maybe short term, long term?
Sure, David. So this is obviously an ongoing effort. I wouldn't say one can really put a timestamp to it because, for instance, in your country with Kenya, or Nairobi in Kenya, we might have certain laws that we have to comply with, but that same laws aren't in place for maybe Europe or Australia. So each country needs to be approached on a different manner, and you cannot use one set of ruling and apply it to all neighboring countries. So literally, David, it's an ongoing process for the exchange consistently. So as we build up our law team, it's something we are consistently looking into.
All right, great. Now, I know that you've also been putting out new features, upgrading the platform. Maybe you can let us know about some of these new features and updates that have been coming onto ChainEx.
Awesome. Thanks, David. Well, I think some of the exciting stuff is that we have got some scaling fees. Scaling fees that the more you trade, the cheaper it literally gets to buy. Your fees would get less and less over time the more active you are in the market. We also created different order types. So we have stop loss orders, we have accumulative and distributive orders. So that's obviously also for individuals that really understand trading and now want to advance their trading methods. We also have a quick buy and quick sell option. This is normally for individuals that are new and don't want to look into all the different order types, but they just want an easy way to get into the market and exit the market. That's obviously some of the exciting stuff we have. We also have an affiliate model that rewards our users for marketing the exchange. And that's just a few to mention. Perhaps before I forget, another one that's really exciting and great that ChainEx has to offer. When you are a market maker on the exchange, we charge 0% fees. So it's actually possible to trade on ChainEx and pay 0 fees.
DeFi is also quite big and it's getting a lot of publicity. Anything around DeFi?
Definitely, David, man, I'm so excited you are touching on this topic. So perhaps to start off, we are very pro DeFi projects. We've recently started looking into some DeFi projects. We have listed some as well. Our next listings we are looking into is Sushi, Polkadot, Yearn Finance, just to mention a few. So we are really looking into these specific projects, Avalanche, again. So I'm just touching on a few. But on top of that, also, we would like, and this is obviously in our scope, I mean, I wouldn't mention it for the near future, but definitely in the far future, we would like to become a decentralized exchange as well. So it's not just supporting these specific DeFi projects, but also for us to become a decentralized exchange in the near future, as we see that the market is going in that direction.
Can you maybe list some of those DeFi coins that are available on ChainEx again?
Of course. So we already have listed Chainlink. That's already on the market. Uniswap is already available also for you to be able to trade. Next, we are looking for Polkadot, to list Polkadot, as well as Yearn Finance. Now I'm missing one as well, but that is all in our scope. Avalanche, I did mention. So that's just to mention a few that we are busy looking into as well.
For someone who's possibly maybe in South Africa or even outside, like me, would you tell us who can make use of ChainEx?
So, David, when it comes to our international markets, there's only a limited few countries, as I've mentioned earlier, with very strict, compliance and jurisdiction. So, outside of those countries, we are open to the whole world. Literally every single individual that has Bitcoin can start trading their Bitcoins to alternative coins. It's literally just a few small amount of countries that we have listed. It is mentioned on the exchange. And other than that, we are open to the international market for anyone to come and trade on the platform.
I'm sure people are interested to know, how can one make money using ChainEx? And also, how does ChainEx also benefit their users?
Of course. Thanks for bringing that up, David. I briefly mentioned this earlier as one of the benefits from the exchange. ChainEx does have a very unique way in doing its marketing. We obviously use social media and obviously blogs and interviews like this. But on top of that, we have an affiliate model. So even if you are a user that does not trade, you are able to introduce your friends and family members to the platform. When they do their trading, a percentage of the fees go to the exchange, but then the exchange, ChainEx, actually splits a percentage of the rewards or of the fees with the affiliate. So if that's you, David, and you bring 100 friends on board, you will get paid every single time they make a trade on the platform. So it's a great additional incentive from ChainEx, and then obviously a great way to make money. David, you would know, as a trader, buy low and sell high. I mean, that's probably the best way for anyone to make money on exchange, but ChainEx has the great initiative to reward marketers for also affiliating themselves with the platform.
I also know you have some partnerships with some other players. Maybe would you mention those as some of the benefits as well for users?
Of course. So I think you would agree with me on this, David. I mean, for any new ball player to come in and actually join the game, credibility is such a massive, crucial point. And that is what made us decide to look into some strategic partners. We were lucky enough to be approached by OKX. So I am disclosing it to you. And we have, after that, partnered with them. The great thing is that this now gives us credibility as a South African exchange to know that we have a big brother out there that also markets us and also does joint marketing campaigns with us. So obviously that was the reason for the partnership. And of course, it's a great way for us also to source liquidity, so that we can obviously in and out move capital via their gateways too. So again, probably the biggest objective for us to achieve through the partnership was for credibility.
For someone who doesn't have, a lot of knowledge around crypto, how would you say they can benefit from ChainEx, or how do you facilitate, in onboarding people like those?
David, that's such a great question. When I consider this, so many new people are coming towards cryptocurrency, and unfortunately, with that comes a lot of inexperienced people. So again, that's another place where ChainEx saw the gap, and we created a knowledge base section right under our support tab on the exchange. On top of that, we also have a YouTube channel. In this YouTube channel, we explain everything about the different order types, how to make a deposit, even how to get your referral link. Literally every single thing you can think of that you might not understand on the exchange is listed under either the knowledge base section or on the YouTube playlist or on YouTube under our playlist. So literally all the information you need right there at a click of a button.
How many users does ChainEx have so far?
You know, David, we've seen a rapid increase up until today. Today we stand well over 20,000. We are actually at that point now where we are starting to clock almost 1,000 users a day. You know, so we are really picking up momentum. In the very near future, we will oversee well over 1,000, then 2,000. So obviously for us, we are constantly working on our marketing, expanding into different countries, and also increasing our reach. So that's right. At this moment, well over 20,000, and literally at that point where we are now onboarding over 1,000 clients per day.
Along those lines, I would love to ask, you've obviously been in this space for quite some time. You're obviously a veteran in this space. What would you say are the biggest challenges about running an exchange successfully?
David, man, for me to answer that question, I would have to write the book. Look,
all right.
To be completely honest, David, I absolutely love this industry. I love this company even more. I cannot pinpoint specific things. I would definitely just say that it challenges you in so many different ways. We have a great team. We rely on each individual, and never is there one thing that's going to make you succeed. It's such a big company within this industry. Each thing you do is simply a part of the puzzle. I cannot elaborate even more. It's literally every single thing you do, whether it's increasing the support, whether it's doing better marketing, whether it's collaborating with partnerships, everything simply becomes a little puzzle piece that fits into the overall picture. But I think it's definitely one of the most exciting industries to be part of.
No doubt, yes. And now, speaking along those lines, when we talk about challenges, regulation has always been a challenge in this space. Maybe you can talk about regulation, especially now in South Africa and what's happening. You can let us know how the space looks like in South Africa right now.
Of course, thanks, David. I'm quite excited about regulation. First of all, obviously, regulation would bring, a lot of people towards the industry. They would feel much safer to approach the industry when regulation is upon us. I also believe that regulation would phase out quite a lot of scammers, as unfortunately, with the space being unregulated, it has attracted a lot of scammers. So for a company like ChainEx that has now been approved for the last few years, that has built up the credibility, I believe regulation is going to be a good thing. Unfortunately, with regulation in South Africa, things are still quite vague. There's no clear blueprint yet. We have recently received a comment from, the South African, actually SARS and, quite a few of the FSPs, expecting us to tick a few boxes. And we had to make comments on this. And according to this, we are now building this new infrastructure. So at the moment, it is vague. As I've just mentioned, they want us to do certain things like KYC, which is standard, but they want us to build something similar to the financial system, like standard FSPs and banks. So therefore, you would have to have licensing. You would have to have RE5. Would have to be, fit and proper for the industry. So these are obviously the things that we are now taking on. Whether you have it or not, you should either get it in place or you would comment stating that it isn't really necessary for the crypto industry. So like I said, very vague at the moment, but ChainEx, we are definitely embracing it. We do think it's going to be healthy and good for the ecosystem, so definitely not running from it.
All right. Have they given a timeline on when, they'll finalize on the draft so that at least everybody knows, how the regulation looks like?
Sure. So, David, I stand to be corrected, but we had to submit our comments as early as about a week or two ago. So just recently, we have submitted our comments from ChainEx. And again, I cannot speak on behalf of the authorities, but we should have probably 6 months, maybe a year, where they would now come back with a proposal that we would then have to accept, or a new set of ruling that we would have to comply with. So like I've mentioned, I cannot really talk on behalf of them, But that's more or less just, timeline wise, how we are thinking it would go.
Mike, any last words to anyone who's listening to you, or someone who's in the space, or someone who's new? Any last words or advice you can give to someone, or to the listeners?
Awesome. Yes, definitely, David. Obviously, I'm not giving any financial advice, but I would definitely advise any individual. Well, let me not use the word advise, but I would really encourage each individual to look into crypto. Not necessarily buy specific cryptos, not necessarily even buy Bitcoin, but look into it. Come to terms to understand it. Know what the technology, blockchain technology, is all about. Look into ChainEx. Get to understand the platform. Again, this is just me. I think this is, very close to the future. This is what we are going to see with regards to companies tokenizing their stock values. Even crypto, like I've mentioned, has got a clear use case in the 21st century as we become a cashless society. So as any individual out there, look into crypto, understand blockchain, and jump on board and have a look at ChainEx as a platform.
All right. With that, thank you, Mike, for joining us today.
David, really appreciate it. Thank you to you. And again, thanks for hosting me.
All right. Thank you.